What's up guys, we are back to blast through the creation of items for our Forge tutorial. It's going to be very much a similar process to what we did with the blocks, so let's get started. We're going to make an items package and the two sub packages, which are base and init. And in init we will create our T items, and in here we're just going to do an example item. So I'm going to make a mystery ingot. So we're going to do an object holder. My computer's being a little bit slow today, and we're going to do tutorial.id or not. There we go. Plus colon and it's not ID, sorry, it's a mod ID. And then we'll do item underscore mystery ingot, and I can spell. And then we do public static final item mystery ingot. Were we including item at the beginning? I cannot remember. Yeah, we're doing block at the beginning of those, so we'll do item at the beginning of these. Hello, full screen. There we go. We'll just say item mystery ingot or mystery ingot equals new. Let's copy this. And don't forget we're passing in our names here. You don't necessarily need to do that, you could do it in the constructor for all of the items if you wanted to. And then we're going to do a public oh, is this public? I think this was private. Sorry, let me check. It's been a while since I did the last episode. Public static final. And we'll just do item array items. Actually, this is going to want to be T item array, which we haven't created yet. Equals new T item array. Don't forget the semicolon. So we're going to want to create this class, which is going to go into items, which is going to extend T item. T item. Thank you. Which we also want to create. So let's do that. T item extends item. And if we look in our T block, you can see we've got the constructor. We did our tooltip thing. We need to initialize the model. We don't need to do this because this is just for blocks. So I'm actually gonna, well, we need to first of all implement init model. And I'm actually just going to copy this because I believe it's the same. So instead of item.getItem from block, this time it's just going to be this. And I'm fairly certain that's all we needed to do. I'm going to copy the annotations over just to make sure they're all correct. And to shut this up. Okay, so let's do the item constructor. I don't actually think the item needs anything passing into it, I don't remember, let's have a look. Yeah, I think it's fine like that. So as for the way we do this, we're just going to do the unlocalized name and the registry name and the creative tab, and obviously we don't need the other properties. So I'm actually just going to copy these lines of code over from our other thing, and then we'll just pass in localized name and creative tab. So we've done that. Let's copy over our add information as well, and that should be fine as it is. So that's the T item class already done. We can now just create our constructor. We don't need to pass that through. You can if you want to pass it in through this class as an extra parameter at the end here. you can do that. And we'll save this one materials. So we can now import that and place our mystery ingot inside here. So in our block init, we did initialize models and then register. So let's copy the initialize models function over and just change this to items. Change this to item in items. We'll just say item.initializeModel. Fairly straightforward. We'll do the same thing for the registry event. Change this to register items and change this to item. And we want to change this to item and change this to items. So there we go. You should now be able to remove your block stuff from up here. So I think that's mostly it. We need to actually remember to initialize things in here. So let's expand these, and all we need to do is in our register items, we want to do t items dot register items event, and then in our client proxy we can do our t items dot initialize item models. Well, apparently I've put it as items models. It's a bit interesting. Let me just refactor that. Item models. There we go. So that should be all good. So I have actually made a texture down here for our mystery ingot. The reason it's called mystery ingot is because I have no idea what this is. I just painted a new ingot. We have another one down here because we're going to have a look at food. I have apparently spelt it wrong though. So yeah, we're going to have a look at food and various other things. Maybe this episode, maybe I'll do it as a multi-part thing, just to keep it all separated. But yeah, so now we can add in our language file. So let's do items. We'll do item.tutorial colon item underscore mystery underscore ingot dot name equals mystery ingot, and then we want to do our item, whoops, not that, and I forgot the I spelt it wrong once again. Where's rename? What? There it is. That's a bit strange. .json. Got to remember the JSON. And I'm just going to check how I have done this, so I don't give you guys the wrong information again, because I've done that in the past. I had to redo the blocks episode. So we're going to parent it with item/generated, and we're going to do the textures, and it's layer 0, and then it's going to be tutorial, or whatever your mod ID is, colon items / and then the name of your texture file without the .png, so item underscore mystery underscore ingot. And that's it. So that should be registered and working now. Just quickly, I'm going to show you how you can actually get the textures from Minecraft, because some people have asked me in the past. So, provided you've got Minecraft installed, you go to %app data % in your address bar here, and that will bring you to your app data folder. You just want to go into Minecraft and versions, and then select whichever version you want, and you're looking for your jar file. and you just want to right click it and open it with something like WinRAR, which you can download and install for free. And then you just need to make a location somewhere on your computer to store your textures, and you just go into Assets, Minecraft, Textures, and then you can either choose all of these or whichever ones you want and just drag them over to the folder. And you can see that's now going to extract all of that. And there we go, so now we've got all of the block textures from the game, and you've got all of the item textures. So yeah, that will be useful. I don't actually need that folder because I've already done this, so let's delete that. In fact, let's actually, never mind, I was going to shift delete it or whatever. So let's actually test this out. Okay, let's have a look and see if we go into creative and if we spell game mode correctly. Wow, I actually just pressed O and it did nothing. I definitely need a new keyboard, guys. So it was in materials, I'm not sure, I think that's this one. Yeah, and there it is, mystery ingot. Oops. So that should render properly in the world and in your hand. You can see even in the offhands. I do hope that's correct. Let's have a look. Grab some iron. Yeah, so there we go. Nice. So you can also do some pretty nifty things with this. You can, let's go into our mystery ingot. Let's also do add information. So you remember before we had a look at making things like this. Let's just copy this a minute, we'll change it around a bit. So let's do gold, maybe blue, or let's do green, why not? And put some lore into this. Now my O key wants to work. So let's say you were going to make this item to where the player, the more they use it, the more they find out about it, and that unlocks, I don't know, crafting recipes for the item. You could do something like this. You could just say, in our little left shift thing, see what you've learned. You don't necessarily need to put this in there. In fact, it's probably better that you wouldn't, but just for the sake of, you know, practicing using this with the keyboard.is key down. So we'll say, you currently have no idea what this item does. So there we go. Now what I was going to show you is if we override, I believe it's get item stack display name. Here we go. So you could, this is going to be annoying. Let's just disable that. So you can actually return a string for the display name. Now obviously you have in your lang file this. If you override this and you return anything other than that, or the way you would otherwise get this string, then this is going to basically be useless. But you could say in here that it's, let's say you've discovered what this is now. Well, actually, yeah. So we'll do something. You can basically make this up. So we can say something like, not tooltip, sorry. Display name dot mystery ingot dot stage 1. I don't know, so stage 1 is before you've learned anything about it, and it's just a mystery ingot, right? So we could actually get rid of this now, since we're not going to be doing it. Or no, we'll leave that there, just so you know. But so let's say stage 2, you've used the item now a little bit, and you kind of know a bit more about it. You know that it's a... let's think of something here. You know that it is a conductive material, so we can say conductive ingot. So with this you can then say, okay, we want to have a property for this, actually no, let's, well, this is tricky, I'm trying to think how to do this. I was going to bind some data with the player to say how many times they've right clicked with it, just as an example, but I don't really want to go through all that right now, because that's the kind of thing that needs its own episode. So we will just say it'll be a random chance, or no, we'll say do it based on stack size. So we'll say if stack.count is less than or equal to 32, then we're going to return. And the way we can get a string from here, obviously this bit here is made up, right? So let's copy that. We're just going to do I18n, and you want the one from Minecraft, dot format, and then you pass in that string. And then we can just say else, or we don't need to do else actually. It's redundant in this case, so we can just say return I18n dot format, and we'll do stage 2. So once you've acquired more than half a stack, you move to stage 2 and you see the new name. So let's test it. Okay, so let's grab our mystery ingot, so you can see the tooltip is working there, and you can see now conductive ingot. If we split the stack in half, mystery ingot. So that's really cool. You currently have no idea what this item does, and then it's displaying the name. Is that? Yep. That's my fault for leaving that in. I do apologise. So you could also in here maybe include just a little bit more interaction with it. Obviously you would want to flesh this out and make it work however you'd want it to work, but for this we can say if get display name, get item stack display name, and we'll just pass in stack, is equal to, and we'll just do I18n.format, Just copy this in. Ah, yes. So it's going to want us to change this to dot equals. There we go. It is better to do that. So then you can say if it's equal to stage 1, then you currently have no idea what this item does. Otherwise, say else. You know this item conducts heat, we'll say. You don't yet know that it conducts electricity. So then you could do a stage 3 and have it display both of these. So you could say this would be else if, and then we just copy that. You know this item conducts heat, otherwise if it's equal to stage 3, then you can say you know this item conducts heat and you know this item conducts electricity. And as for the naming of this, I think we'll stick with this, except we'll change it to .stage1.name. And then here we'll do stage 2. And here we'll do stage 3, which will be the same thing, but you could change it if you wanted to. So then we'll say, okay, if it's less than, hold on a second, no, come on, you can do it, there we go. Wow, that's just unnecessarily huge. Just find out what that is. 21, say 22. So less than or equal to 22, then we're at stage 1. Else, if it's less than or equal to 44, then we're at stage 2. Let's tidy that up. And then we're going to say else, return stage 3. So there we go, let's give that a final little test. Okay, let's have a look and see if that worked. This is not the correct tab. So yeah, I had failed with the naming and changed what we had called it in our language file and then did not change it in here. But regardless, split that into 3 stacks. So mystery ingot, you wonder what this item does, you currently have no idea what it does. Conductive ingot, you know this item conducts heat. And then finally, you know this item conducts heat, and that's all because what? Why did that not work? Ah, I think I know why that is actually. So that will be because we called these the same things. Let's call that an electrically conductive ingot just for the sake of it. So yeah. That's switching up here on the display name is probably not the best way of doing it. Obviously, you might have properties that you will bind to the item, and we're going to look at doing that in the future. And you would want to actually, instead of checking the display name up here, you would want to check that property just to make sure you've got the right thing. Okay, so there we go. Now our stack will actually display properly, right? Mystery ingot, conductive ingot, and electrically conductive ingot, and now we finally got the 2 bits of information. So there we go. We got there in the end. So yeah, it's a good idea to make sure you understand why things might go wrong. In this case, we are checking if it's not equal to the stage 1 name, we're checking if it's equal to the stage 2 name, and that's going to be correct if we're actually using stage 3's name and it's the same as stage 2's name, then it's still going to be equal to that. So that was a bit of a derp on my part. I guess I wouldn't really have thought about it too much. Like I say, this item's not actually, going to go into any mods, so there we go. So I'm hoping that's been useful for you for learning how to create items. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm half asleep. Next episode we will look at the food items and possibly tools, and then I think we'll go through how to add properties to them, and then we'll do tile entities so that our blocks can actually do things, and we'll also look at having orientable blocks that, when you place them they face the direction that you're facing, things like that. If anybody's got any suggestions for anything they'd like to see in the tutorials, please comment them on the latest video, and I will hopefully get round to looking at them in the future. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.